Welcome to God with George Ortega, and this is episode number 90. I'm recording it on Thursday, February 25th at 8:06 p.m. Eastern Time. And this should be a fun show because I'm totally blitzed celebrating Purim. So I had two 24-ounce beers, and I don't ordinarily drink, so they're having a quite wonderful effect, really, actually. So, um, all right, all right. I was intending to talk about why God created pain, because that was like the essence of the last episode. But I'm feeling so good right now, and it's because like I just like I celebrated Purim with my community, and it just felt so wonderful. It really it just filled me with love. It filled me with such it filled me with a lot of love. It really did. So all right, so now all right, so like I had intended to talk about that, but now God apparently wants me to talk about something else. The problem for me is God hasn't told me yet what she wants me to talk about. And now I've got it. So why am I referring to God as a she? Because come on, I mean, like for 3,000 years, we've been referring to God as a he. And yes, I mean, like maybe it's more of a generic thing for humans that he, kind of like refers to both women, men and women, but all right, aside from all that, I believe that if we start referring to God as she, we will get much more in touch with God's more nurturing qualities. Yeah, God is a he. Yeah, he's going to protect us. He's going to destroy her. He's going to do whatever he wants, right? But, it'd be nice to kind of like experience the more nurturing, pleasant, less judgmental and etc. Aspects of God. All right, so we've got 25. I've got 25 minutes left to fill this stuff with stuff. So so I will do this, and it's I should it'd be great to be drunk all the time. Again, two 24-ounce. I don't know if I said this before. I just messaged someone because I essentially as an experiment, in spirituality partly also, I just consumed two 24-ounce cans of beer that are this kind of beer is actually this brand is a bit stronger than ordinary beers, and I don't ordinarily drink, so so this is quite a pleasant experience for me. Um, so all right, so I just attended a Purim celebration with my congregation. It was wonderful. I mean, the people, my fellow congregants, are wonderful. Um, so why am I not completely satisfied? And rather than blaming us, because I mean, what I'm saying is like it's not an ideal world. We could be better. We should be better. But we're not. Okay. So all right, now being on these I guess 48 ounces of beer, I'm a bit more sidetracked than I would ordinarily be, which is like I tend to be sidetracked a lot because I have a very creative mind, meaning that like I'll think a thought, and that thought will generate several other thoughts that will kind of like interfere with my my original intent in whatever I was communicating. So anyway, I've got 23 minutes left to just, all right, we have segued, we have tangented into the realm of other stuff. And the thing about this show is that it is about God. I mean, God in capital letters, not God, you know, big G, small O and D, or God, big G dash small d. This is God, big God. This is like, and I intentionally, because like we need to better distinguish between everything else and God. So having said that, I think, again, let me tell you, these 48 ounces of beer, and it's a very strong, all right, I have to explain, there's a part of me that needs to be very clear about stuff. So this particular beer is about, I would guess, twice as strong as the other, as beers in general. I think beers have about 3% alcohol. This has about 6%. So it's kind of like, I've just drank 2 beers, and but the other part is that it's not just a beer, it's a beer and a half, because it's 24 ounces. A regular beer would be 16 ounces. So this is like 2 beers. So basically I'm on like a 6-pack right now. So anyway, all right, we've got to connect this to God. And I have to just pause to reflect on the reality that alcohol, although yes, it creates a lot of problems today for a lot of people, when it was first discovered, was the most amazing godsend. I mean, here was an agent, a messenger, an agent from God that allowed us to overcome our anxieties, our fears, our apprehensions, and I'm expressing it right now, even as I'm saying it, because there's a part of us that we fear each other and fear whatever. So like, this agent comes along, and all of a sudden, we love people more. We feel more comfortable with people, with other aspects of reality. And my theory is that this is what was responsible, or what enabled the creation of civilization. All right, but now 20 minutes into the, or no, 19 minutes left, and 55 seconds. You got to wonder why I'm so like technical about stuff like that. But anyway, into this show, I'm kind of like becoming aware that this show is supposed to be about God. And then see, the challenge for me, and again, 89 episodes into it, it's not like, I have a lot of work to do on this. This challenge for me is to focus on God much more completely. Because, as you've noticed over the last several minutes, I've segued into whatever that hasn't been as directly about God as it could have been. So yeah, that's my challenge. All right, so God. All right, I love God. Why do I love God? Because God created me, everything. I mean, God is so awesome. I mean, like, God is all, God is so awesome. I mean, like, so you gotta love God. How could you not love God, right? I mean, like, but, here's the thing here, God doesn't always treat us kindly. God, once in a while, for some reason, I have no idea, what it might be, various reasons, perhaps, I don't know, but like God, doesn't just create this wonderful world where we're filled with love and people we love, and so many aspects of reality that's so wonderful, that makes life so wonderful. But God also afflicts us, and you want to know something, 18 minutes left in this show, I don't want to focus on that. Again, this is the 48 ounces of beer drinking, speaking through me, which was really is a kind of like a good example of why we don't have free will. But I'm not going to go there either, because like I'll tell you, the reason the reason that issue is important to me is because I believe that it's important to value truth. And but relative to this, it's much happier, especially on Purim, where we're supposed to be so happy that we can't distinguish between Haman and Mordecai, and we don't care to. That's fine, whatever. And okay, so all right, now I just went into this tangent, and this is like, all right, God wants me to do whatever God wants me to do. So like, I just went into this tangent, about this free will thing. And whatever train of thought I was on before is gone. It's just gone. And like, I could try to bring it back, to pull it back, but on Purim, on 48 ounces of it's actually Keystone beer, it's again 5.9% alcohol, whereas the beers that I grew up on were about 3% alcohol. So it's really, again, it's one can, but it's a can and a half, so wait. All right, a can and a half, and a can and a half is really like 3 beers. But the fact that it's like 5.9 rather than the ordinary 3 makes it like a 6-pack. And why God had me go into that kind of explanation, regarding something I had said before, I have no idea. I mean, God, God does what God wants to do. And, all right, I've been referring to God as she. And it's important because, like, come on, give me a break. I mean, like, fine. It could have been that we guys, first discovered God. It could have been actually that women inspired us to in some way that we refuse to admit or acknowledge. But notwithstanding, all right, so like, we tend to personify God as a he. And I personally believe that, 5,000 years later, it might be beneficial to view God as a she, because give me a break. I mean, come on, we guys, we're designed by God to be the protectors. There's an animal out there that's threatening us. We will kill it. We will maintain whatever environment, whatever world we need to maintain to ensure the best life for our family. So that's our job. But women, are intended to make things better, not to just be satisfied. Yes, fine, the wild animals aren't eating us. Women are intended, I believe, to elevate us to a higher plane of existence, a closer plane to God. So again, politically, I believe that our governments should be like 50% women, 50% men, and actually to redress the imbalance that has happened over the last however many years, it should probably be 75% women to 25% men. But all right, the more important message is that we need to. All right, so now I guess we've got about 13 minutes left to go, and so now God wants me to talk about the value of our world being run by women. But no, all right, I could go there, but that's like political and that's kind of like sociological. I want to return to God. Come on. because that's that's what the show is about, and that is what the challenge is. So, all right, let's explore this. And again, if I slur a bit, it's because of the 48 ounces. I don't ordinarily slur. I mean, I say a lot of ums, you likes, and but I don't slur generally. But let's talk about God. I mean, I love God because, God is like the mafia. It's like, you don't love God, you're in trouble. So it's just very wise to love God. But, all right, God created this world, there's a lot of happiness I've experienced in this life. I mean, we will all have, and we're very grateful to God for this, for having created a world where we can experience so much joy. But then, I think about the less than perfect aspects of reality. And I got to get into this because this is the work of humankind to kunalam, to just, repair the world. So yes, we're living in a wonderful world where there's so many blessings, but there's more to be done. So, all right, and as I said, that God just had me completely lose, not maybe completely, but whatever, that train of thought, and who knows. All right, so yeah, all right, almost 11 minutes to go in this. God apparently wants me to address why we are not in this blissful state that we could be in. This world is great, but it has a lot of problems. We have the capacity to navigate and address these problems and solve them. Our fundamental, well, all right, now I'm getting a bit too technical, philosophical. I'm going to return to God. In other words, this is a celebration, Purim. So rather than asking for more, let me appreciate what is. I was just on a Zoom call with my congregation. I mean, so many wonderful people that have been, that are a blessing from God. And so I think when we think of God, we I think foremost would want to think of God's goodness. God creates us, and yes, the world is not perfectly in line with what we would prefer, perfectly not pleasant and virtuous, right? I mean, what else is there? If the world was completely blissful, completely virtuous, where we didn't do anything wrong, then there'd be nothing to pray to God about. Think about it, at least in terms of petitionary prayers that are asking God for something. So, but yes, on celebrations like this, I think and this is something that I have to learn much more so than perhaps a lot of other people, on holidays, holy days like this, I think it's incumbent upon us to enjoy, to understand, yes, the world is not as perfect as it could be, but on this day, we're going to celebrate what is, the wonder of what is. And I mean, it's not something like we should be reserving just to holidays. I mean, think about it. I mean, each day is wonderful. Each day we should be striving to focus on what's good about it, instead of dwelling on what might be better, or could be better, or should be better. Not that these wishes, these prayers are not important, because they are, because, you know, what we're intending to create is a world that is wonderful, blissfully, lovingly, virtuously wonderful for everyone. And all right, so like what just happened is like, I apparently, you know, there are various levels of consciousness, I guess, right? So I just, yeah, I found myself elevated to a higher level of consciousness, and that I'm not ordinarily accustomed to. And like, so like the train of thought that I wanted to follow during that just was more difficult. So like, you know, I lost the train of thought. So, which is why I'm explaining this. But, and that kind of like just explains a part of reality. Sometimes, you know, we are afraid perhaps, or unfamiliar enough perhaps to accept the greater realities that are accessible to us. There are our birthright in a sense, you know, to the extent that we are able to seek them, to acknowledge that they are a possibility. And again, like 6 minutes and 37.5 seconds into, you know, left in the show. God, who is, you know, scripting every thought that I'm communicating, every word that I'm saying, is having me say that, oh, it's funny. So like God, you know, so I was about to say what was on my mind before I started explaining why I would do it. And then, and so the thought is gone. So again, with 48 ounces of beer, it has some benefits. It absolutely has some benefits, but, you know, in terms of like following a train of thought, it may, you know, impede that to a certain extent. But all right, let's see if I can like bring it back. Well, essentially, I guess what I'm trying to say is that like, there is a lot more joy and virtue accessible to us than we take advantage of, that we accept, and there's another word that escapes me that describes that better, but you know, there yes, we need to solve problems, climate change, global poverty, too many abortions. My God, we abort as many people each year as die of every other cause combined. You know, God cannot be pleased with that. And the way we treat farm animals, I mean, you know, if you want to understand the suffering in this world today, at least among Homo sapiens, you know, you don't have to go any further than to know how we treat these animals. These animals are God's creatures. You know, pigs, we know that dogs feel pain. You know, so many of us have pets. We know that cats feel pain. And so like pigs, you know, incidentally, fine, we're Jewish, we don't eat pigs, but pigs are smarter than dogs. So, you know, they absolutely feel pain. So not just pigs, but cows and chickens. I mean, they feel pain. So we need to, now I'm just like, you know, we've got to get this right. You know, yes, our world could be much better, but it won't be much better until we solve this, until we stop being so cruel, so evil to these animals. And yes, fine, as I've explained over, you know, many episodes of this series, it's not our fault. Fundamentally, we don't have a free will, but notwithstanding, we get rewarded for what we do that's good, and we get punished for what we do that's not good. And so, again, it gets a bit surreal, because if we don't have a free will, how can we determine what we do or not? But I think a part of that is acknowledging the good that we continue to need to do, and praying to God that God gives us the resources, the ability to overcome that whatever is causing us to do that evil. All right, we've got about 3 minutes left. So to recap, yes, this is Purim, and so as a good Jew, I'm celebrating it. I'm just like getting, fine. I can still distinguish between Mordechai and Haman. But maybe next year, instead of having 48 ounces of Keystone beer, I will have 72 or 150, I don't know, something like that, 172, 146, I guess, ounces. So I could be, a lot more inebriated, which, incidentally, inebriation does not, always lead to positive divine consequences, but it can. 2 minutes in, left into this, God wants me to apparently relate to this. Back in the 80s, I attended this for 4 days. I couldn't last because it was too foreign of an environment for me. I attended this yeshiva, Orthodox yeshiva in Morristown, New Jersey. And every 3 weeks, 4 weeks or so, they would have a Farbringen where the rabbi, the main rabbi, and all the students would just get totally sloshed on schnapps and vodka and whatever it was. And I attended one of these, and it just, alcohol can bring out a certain manner of spirituality in us, even though it, sometimes makes us slur our speech, whatever. All right, so I hope you're having a wonderful day. And if you're Jewish, a wonderful Purim. And this has been an excellent episode because, for whatever reason, these 2 cans, can and a half size, whatever, cans of beer, have put me in a very pleasant, uninhibited, that's, I think, a key part of this, uninhibited state of mind, where I'm not all that concerned with what I say. Maybe because I realize that, everything is God, and that God is in control of everything, whatever. So anyway, I'm out of stuff for today. And I'm not gonna catch this on White Plains Community Media, catch this on the internet. And I've got 20 seconds left to fill with stuff, with words. So what does God in 13 seconds want me to say? Be happy and virtuous. That's all there is. Once you're happy and virtuous, you've got everything. Thanks for watching.